annoying posts of people who have to start a conversation about the ethics of streaming versus buying people's CDs.
Oh, really?
And everybody just pontificates about how evil it is to use Spotify and stream music because you're literally like you're reaching out through the interwebs and putting your hand in the artist's pocket and ripping money out of their pockets. And how on earth can you sleep at night streaming? You should buy everybody's CDs. And then people are like, yeah, but why should I pay $20 for a CD? I shouldn't have to. People are selling CDs for $30. And after shipping, it cost me $40. And I'm like, well, what the fuck do you want? Do you want to support the artist or do you want to bitch about shipping? Like, make your choice. Like, my head is going to explode if I read another post about like CDs, buying CDs versus streaming. Drives me fucking nuts.
No, it's weird because I don't even own a CD player anymore.
I own 2.
I just can't take it, because if an artist is on Spotify streaming, either one, it's by choice, or
Right.
two, they have given that choice to someone else.
Correct.
So
Yep.
you're not fucking over the artist. They've chosen it one way or another to have their stuff streaming. And if the artist bitches about it, then they should get their shit off Spotify. End of story.
I agree.
Well-
no argument for me, my friend.
To be the devil's advocate, I don't disagree with you, especially about if they put something on Spotify, then they're responsible for it. I guess to be the devil's advocate, when you have like a monthly subscription to say iTunes or whatever, whenever I wanted to listen to the new Stephen Wilson, I just typed in Stephen Wilson and it came up and I listened to it.
Exactly.
I wanted to listen to whatever and I listened to it.
And do you know why you were able to listen to it on Apple Music, Tom?
Well, hold on.
Because he put it there. He put it there for you to listen to it.
Because he put it there to listen.
Yep.
But it's unfortunate that in this day and age, people are listening to it. And he might get a small, like minute amount of money from Apple or from whomever. But it's that amount is a lot smaller than you would get if you would actually buy, which you guys do. So I mean, you guys support, when
Right.
you
But
watch Fish's last album, you guys are always talking about stuff that you buy. So
it's a numbers game, though, right, Tom? Because you listen to his stuff, so he gets the 0.003 cents from you, and there's probably, I mean, let's just real quick while we're talking, let's just pull up Stephen Wilson and see how many monthly listeners he has. Comparatively, he's only got 519,000 monthly listeners. Okay, but he probably doesn't sell 513,000 albums, right?
no, but it's different when you have a monthly subscription.
So he's pulling in
So
20
I'm
grand.
not- I'm-
He's
I'm
pulling in
not
20
talking
grand a
about-
year. He's pulling in 20 grand a year on Spotify royalties. That's not a lot, but it's 20 grand.
So
So
you would rather
you're contributing that 20 grand to him. I'm not reprimanding you at all. I'm saying there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And he's making 20 grand, which otherwise he would never have made.
I think that there's a double-edged sword here, and I depending on who I'm talking to, I'll sort of take the other side. So I'm not fully disagreeing with you, but what I'll say is that it's unfortunate that we are in a time where if the bands that we grew up with, whose album, maybe it didn't go platinum, but maybe just went gold. Like these people were still able to, make good livings. And now it's a fraction of that.
Have they?
And yes,
were they able to make good livings?
Anyway, I'm not talking about like downloading. I'm not talking about downloading.
Right. We're talking about streaming.
Streaming. Yeah, right. So that, I mean, as much as you can, it's good to get your stuff out there and you can have the argument And I've actually had that argument where people are putting their stuff out there and you can hear it and people can get excited about it to go to the concert and spend money at the concert. And that's all fine and dandy. So you can say, well, they're putting their stuff out there and putting it in a medium where people wouldn't normally go and download their music, as a lot of people just don't want to download music anymore. But they're going to the show. And you can say, well, they're spending more money at the show because now tickets are more money. They're buying the T-shirts, they're buying the keychains, they're buying the freaking, that mini shops in the concerts now,
Yep.
right? So they're buying that stuff, but I'm just saying, it's still, when you put out something, you need to have someone purchase it.
So here's my objection, and I want to. This is the perfect spot. And Joe, I think you wanted to say something. So sorry, but you said it, Tom. Right, the way that artists really earn, and I mean earn, the way artists make a living. Okay, because newsflash, it ain't from selling $20 CDs either. Okay, because those shit things cost money to print. And you got to sell a fucking shitload of those to make enough of a profit to actually earn a living selling CDs. Okay. So I don't think your average everyday artist is not earning a living off of their CD sales because of all of the people who are so gloriously buying and supporting them by purchasing CDs. They are making money from performing live. Okay. And the question that I have for you, Tom, is that any different than any of those people in the 70s or 80s when they were touring, and we would go see them at the Spectrum and we would buy those T-shirts and buy the keychains, and they would tour and tour and tour, and they still do it in their late 50s and 60s. Every summer they tour around, obviously not now. Was there any difference between what they were able to achieve as far as earning a living then and what we're talking about now? Because the biggest difference was that they all had these giant record companies that were raking them over the coals, and they were taking all the money. So they used to go out and tour to, quote unquote, promote their album so that the record company could recoup their investment, and the record company could make the sales, and the band was earning by touring. How is that any different than it is today?
Well, it's a big difference, and I'll tell you, because
Okay.
yes, you're correct. They were raking, these companies were screwing them over. But still, when you hit it and you have an album that was platinum, even if somebody's ripping you off and they're taking a percentage of that, it's still far more money than anyone than any amount of money that they're making now.
Let me stop you there for a second. So when you say platinum, what like who is that from our past? And what is that? What's platinum? Is it 1 million?
1 million.
1 million records?
Yes.
1 million record sales.
In the U.S.
Okay, in the U.S. So who sold 1 million records in our when we were going out to see shows in high school and college? Who sold 1 million records? Whose albums went platinum?
Like everyone.
Mm.
Okay, when I was in high school, I went to see Kiss, Rat, Ozzy.
Did Rat have a platinum album? Did
I don't
Rat?
think Rat had a platinum.
I don't think Out of the Cellar went platinum.
It went double platinum. Let's look it up right now.
Where's Ken when we need
You're
him?
questioning me on Rat?
Rat, Out of the Cellar?
Yes, it went double platinum.
What? Triple platinum. Holy shit. Wow.
We bow down before Tom.
So
hey, this is really interesting. But can we talk about fish? Jesus Christ, I'm about to cry.
Sorry, this is what's driving me crazy. So all I'll say this, Tom,
pre-shows, man?
is if Rat was triple platinum and they made so much money off of Out of the Cellar, tell me why that just 5 years ago, fucking Stephen Pearcy was playing at the shithole in Westchester called The Note, right? With two guys in front of 50 people.
It's easy because most of the people in that time blew their money on hookers, drugs, and got ripped off by their managers and everything else.
I think this whole storyline, Tom, is exactly the problem. We have 100% romanticized our previous heroes in music industry. I don't think it was any different. I think Whatever label Rat was signed to fucked them over. They took all the money. Rat only made money from touring, and that's why they tour now. And it's the same exact way today, except there's no middleman, except Spotify's the middleman. Apple Music's the middleman now.
I'm going to bring this around full circle. You know who would be interesting to talk to about this? Any of the guys in Marillion, except for Hogarth. I'm talking about the five guys, Fishmore, who actually experienced when they got into childhood, okay, and then their last two albums, they were actually started making some real money. They were actually playing in front of maybe not arenas, but they were actually starting to make really good money. So it'd be interesting to talk to them.
They were making money because they were touring incessantly, because that's how they made money. I think if you want to talk to Marillion, I think you've got to talk to the five of them now, because the real example of Marillion is when they changed the business model because the business model wasn't working for them, and they found one that worked. Yes. And I bitched and screamed when they did it, but you know what? I have not heard Marillion whine and bitch about money ever since they crowdfunded Anarachnophobia. Not a peep.
And I will say, since I was a supporter of Anarachnophobia, they gave very complete reasons as to why they went about doing it. And to your point, Tom, they had a chart, and it showed how they grew to clutching at straws and then fell off the cliff. And the albums before Anarachnophobia, Marillion.com, Radiation, even This Strange Engine, they were basically, every time they wanted to do an album, they had to go find a record company to pay them to make an album. And what they would basically do is they would get like whatever it was, $500,000. Not even that.
I'm going to cut you off, but actually, this is going into one of my notes about tonight, the problems that Fish had compared to Marillion. So we should let's actually start the episode.
But
let me just get back into this.
Let me just make this point though, is that they would get money to make an album, and then they would finish the album and they would ship it off to the record company, and then they would lose it all. They would have nothing left. And the record company would ship it out all over the world, and then they would have to figure out how to go tour, how to go do all that other shit.
Right.
And to Joe's point, that's why it didn't work anymore.
I certainly agree with, there's money to be made by making your own, doing your own label and not having people do that to you. But that's a whole other thing. But okay.
But that's the model that happens now. People make their own shit and they put it out. And all I'm saying is it doesn't fucking matter whether you buy their CDs or you stream it. If they put it on Spotify, fucking stream it. It's okay. You're not screwing the artist over.
Except for me, I'm too stupid. I still haven't listened to Weltschmerz or Steven Wilson's new record. I'm waiting for the actual physicals. But anyway.
Okay. Incidentally, I wasn't going to buy Steven Wilson's The Future Bites, because after I saw the first couple of YouTube videos, I really didn't like it very much. And it's only because I've had an opportunity to stream it and listen to the album a couple times through, and I've realized, wow, this is actually really good, that I'm going to go buy it.
Well, you know what's funny with that, Paul? I'm glad. I'm the exact opposite. I'm glad I didn't buy it, because after like the second time I heard it, I was like, oh my God, this is not a good album. I liked it like the first two times I heard it. It was like catchy. And like after that, it just grated on my nerves. I'm like, wow, you know what? I'm glad I streamed this and didn't have to pay for it.
There it is.
It serves them right for coming out with such a lame fucking cover.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
It's the cover. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest, guys.
On this episode.